If I'm in battle, I'd want Danny Bakewell in the foxhole with me.
Danny, you're an institution builder. A Renaissance man.
I've known Danny for many years. We've been in the trenches together.
Your work isn't just important to the black community. It's important to the American community.
Danny Bakewell has been a friend. He has been a source of inspiration.
I can always count on Danny as a fearless voice, advocating for the voiceless.
Danny has a big vision, and he sees our people through a door, not through a keyhole.
As long as I have known Danny Bakewell, he has always been in the service of others, in the practice of elevating others to get the best out of themselves.
Danny Bakewell is an American icon and a pillar in the black community as an activist, businessman, institution builder, philanthropist, and family man. He has made a mark on American history and black history that will never be forgotten.
He's a man of vision, he's a man of courage, he's a man of creativity. He is a man of sharp intellect.
As a publisher of a black newspaper and a revered leader of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, he restored the luster, increased the power, and renewed the respect for the black press across America. He is living the American dream, a dream which began humbly in the Deep South. For Danny Joseph Bakewell, the journey began in New Orleans, Louisiana. His father was a bricklayer, his mother a factory worker. Danny grew up in one of those neighborhoods that was poor and didn't know it, where children invented games like Kick the Stick that entertained them for hours.
You know, we grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana together. I guess we met in first grade.
Danny was an all-district football player who attended Arizona State on a scholarship. But soon after enrolling, he found the lure of familyhood and the responsibilities of fatherhood to be a stronger draw for his attention and time. He left school to marry the love of his life and start a family. For the rest of his days, the burning desire to take care of his family would drive him and inspire him, as those who know him best will attest.
I was always impressed with Danny, the way he was just so concerned about his family. And, we used to talk all the time, and he said, look, man, I work long, long hours because I want my family to have the best. And it sort of rub off on you because, when you hear the positive things that he talks about, may it be business, may it be community leadership, may it be his activism, all of it is for the betterment of black people. And once I got caught up in that concept, well, I feel the same way because if he called me 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to ride with him.
All aboard for Night Train.
The limited opportunities in New Orleans led Danny to move to Los Angeles, where his destiny awaited him. First, Danny became involved with the community group Black Congress, which inspired him to create the Brotherhood Crusade with Walter Bremont. As president of the organization, Danny became a darling of the black press, regularly making headlines for his creative activism.
I was a man on a mission with a purpose without a clue.
Danny integrated the Rose Bowl Executive Committee by choosing the event's busiest day as the opportune time to block every freeway exit that led to the storied football stadium with conveniently disabled cars. Danny got Amtrak to clean up the tracks that ran through the black community by literally stopping the train by standing on the track.
Danny said, we'll find out who owned it, find out how many times a day that train come by. We're gonna stop the train. And one thing about it, when he tell people to come, they come. We had hundreds of people put out there. We stopped the train. And after that, somebody got a job.
Danny condemned a grocer who shot teenager Latasha Harlins in the wake of the Rodney King beating, a tense time that exploded into the headlines as the civil unrest of 1992. As always, the community needed Danny at this time of crisis. As always, he responded. But few understood at the time that Danny and his family were going through the most trying time of their lives at the same moment.
In 1992, my daughter came home from school and she was sniffling and had a fever, and you just thought she had a cold.
April 1992. Tensions were rising in Los Angeles as the Rodney King trial dragged on. Meanwhile, in the Bakewell residence, tensions also ran high. Medical reports confirmed that Danny and his wife were losing their youngest daughter to leukemia.
She was diagnosed with leukemia, and within 77 days, she had passed away. So it was the ultimate, body blow. I mean, that you can never recover from. It's like waking up every day with a hole in your heart.
2 days later, Los Angeles erupted.
We're having one store that apparently is being looted at this time.
This scene has really gone crazy out here right now.
Danny had a decision to make. With these dual crises unfolding, Danny's mettle was tested. The outcome? In honor of his daughter, the family created a new form of therapy.
And I decided to let her legacy live, her life live, through helping other people. And we created what I called Sabria's Castle of Fun.
Meanwhile, once his daughter was properly laid to rest, despite his private grief, Danny went to work tirelessly on behalf of the suffering community. His work with the Brotherhood Crusade and the foundation honoring Sabria demonstrated that Danny Bakewell is an institution builder. Danny brought his activist experience, business credibility, and political savvy to the NNPA when he was elected chairman of the largest and most powerful association of black media companies. As a result of Danny Bakewell's leadership, the power and prestige of the NNPA has never been greater.
I would say that based on what I've seen in the last 30 years or so, that I would say that indeed Danny Bakewell was the best chairman that this organization has had.
From the first day of his chairmanship, Danny was working towards increasing the stature of NNPA and the black press throughout the country.
I thought that he had the kind of attributes, the kind of skills, the kind of charisma, the kind of knowledge to really take our newspaper industry to a new level.
I give him an A+ because, the black press is extremely important, but I think what Danny's been able to do since he acquired the Sentinel is to make the black press around the country, especially black newspaper, make people more aware of their responsibility.
The power and respect of NNPA that we enjoyed in the old days has been restored. Our pre-2009 coffers that were nearly bone dry have been infused with hard cash.
If we hadn't received the money that Danny Bakewell secured, a lot of our papers would have gone out of business. So Danny Bakewell saved the black press.
I know from firsthand experience that you are a true visionary. And you've done all of this while staying true to the motto of your company. You can do good and do well at the same time. I thank you for your friendship to me and for what you've done to make our country a better place.
Danny and I have known each other since the early 80s when I was at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and he was at the Brotherhood Crusade. Down through the years, we have understood one principle, and that is the principle of advocacy.
Strong, firm, principled leadership.
He is a street fighter who has become a publisher, a businessman, educator, and a de facto politician of great substance.
He's always put his community first. Someone who is, from the beginning, whether it was the Brotherhood Crusade, whether it was the Bakewell Company, whether it was the Sentinel, the largest African-American newspaper west of the Mississippi, he puts the interest of his community front and center before all else. And it's why I think so many people here in Los Angeles and around the country respect him as much as they do.
Danny has a love for the black press. He understands the power of the black press. And he demonstrated the power of the black press.
When I first met Danny, I sat down and talked with him, and I tell you, at that point I knew that something special was going to happen for NNPA.
I think Danny is one of those rare and special people, and he gets the job done. And often that's the job of lifting up and supporting and giving voice. Danny, I love you. Thank you for all you do, and congratulations.
To dream the impossible dream, to find the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, and to run where the brave dare not go.